Okay guys, it's almost time to finish our projects and get them submitted. So hopefully your games are looking pretty good right now. Today I'm going to go over really the last step that I haven't done a tutorial on during the process of the final project yet. But this should be quick and easy because none of this is really new. We're just talking about using movement blocks with our characters on screen to help add to their animations. We've already used these blocks before in other programs, so again, there's not much new here, just giving you some ideas on how you can use these movement blocks to really put the finishing touch on your animation. So let's take a look at the code that we have on Yoshi here, and let's look at these one at a time. If I was to run this piece of code right here, this just makes sure that Yoshi starts in the right place and that he starts singing the song at the right time. This next chunk of code is his animator. This is what gets him going through all of his different motions. But he's still standing in place while this is running. The next function that we have over here, this is his movement. So all I really use in terms of his movement here is changing the direction that he's facing twice and gliding him between two different points. So when I run this, he slides to the right and faces to the left, and then slides to the left and faces to the right. So when you combine that with his dancing animation, this is my attempt to kind of do a Yoshi moonwalk. Now, probably the trickiest part about this is determining which points to have Yoshi glide between, but it's really very easy if you know how. So I knew I wanted Yoshi to start on the left-hand side of the screen, so I put him where I wanted, and then to check his location, I can simply click on X position, and I see -140, and you can see that's pretty close to the -134 that I have him starting at. And when we look at the Y position, we'll see that he's at -58, which is identical to his position right here. This keeps him from going up and down for no reason. If you want to make this even easier to check out, I can click the checkboxes next to these so that I can see these in my scene while I'm working on it. So then I said, well, I know I want Yoshi to slide to the right, so I'll pull him over to the other side. And I don't really want him going off screen, so I'll stop somewhere around here. Now I know that I still want my Y position to be -58, so I don't really need to look at that, unless I want him to go up and down for some reason. And you may, with your sprites, want them to go up and down, so you can change that. But in this example, we can ignore the Y position for right now, and look at the X position. He's gone to +166. Now in mine, I only actually bring him over to as far as +134. That's probably a little bit safer to make sure he doesn't go off screen at all, but you get the idea. If you decide that your character should go up and then down and jump around, you can say, okay, they'll start on the right and use these coordinates, then they'll jump up to the middle, use the new coordinates, and they'll land down here and use these new coordinates and have them move between those three locations. So once you know how to find your coordinates by turning on your X and Y position in the motion portion of your sprite, or just by clicking on them to check real quick, you can punch those coordinates into a glide and get them moving around pretty easy. Let's take a quick look at my speaker or boombox over here. It's a little different, but probably even easier to get done. So here I have a little chunk of code that gets my boombox bouncing back and forth. But really all that's happening is it's rotating. It turns 15 degrees to the right, and then it waits a couple seconds and turns 15 degrees back to the left twice, and then it turns back 15 degrees to the right. And then it loops forever. And we'll do this again. So really what we have is two 15 degrees to the right and two 15 degrees to the left. And if we break this down a step at a time, it might make even more sense. So when we start this loop, our boombox is flat and level. The first time that it rotates, it tilts a little to the right. But then I need it to come back to the center and be leveled. And then I need it to turn further left to tip in the other direction. And then I need it to tip right one more time to level out. And we just repeat that process. We go right, we center up, we turn left, we center up, and lather, rinse, repeat. So when we put it all back together, we get some nice movement added to our animation that looks like this. And when we really put it all together, with our music, our animation, and our movement, we should have a pretty fun and active scene where it feels like there's a lot going on. With all this done, it's just time to do a little bit of polish and make sure that your final project is submitted for a grade. And we'll go over that in our next and last short video of the quarter.